Okay, here we go. We're going to discuss setup of the REDTIGER F77. This is the front camera. We're going to go down here to the grid and ignore the videotape and playback. Go right to settings menu. And we're looking at the resolution right now. It's default 4K and 4K front and rear. There's an option for different settings here, but this is the one that I prefer. Sound record, we're going to leave that on. I don't know where you would want to turn that off if you're going to have a complete video. But anyhow, loop recording, I've got mine set for 5 minutes. It's got 1 minute, 3 minutes as options, but the 5 minutes I've found reduces the number of files when you're scrolling through trying to find something interesting. So the 5 minutes also gives me a chance to capture a longer loop or a video, and I think for what I'm using this camera for, the 5 minutes makes the most sense. G sensor, I've got it set as default low. I have no reason to change it to medium or high, or even to turn it off. Fatigue reminder, on my commutes I don't necessarily experience any fatigue, so I've got that set off. I think that's default. It's got an option for hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Let's see, Wi-Fi, it looks like you can turn it on, off, and select which frequency you want, 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. I don't know what it defaults to when you just do a voice command, so I might have to look that up. Click tone, I have it on, it's handy. I think default's on. Screensaver, I have mine set for 2 minutes. I think it defaults to off. So there's 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes. Especially in nighttime driving or early morning, as is the case for my commutes, it's handy to have this go black. Otherwise, it's just this bright light in your face. Voice control, I've got it set on. If you go to voice command, you'll see some listings of formatting for what you're going to tell the camera to do. It's also in the manual. We'll just go to on. Mirror flip, I'm not messing with that. Scroll up if you want to see more of the menu. Rear cam flip, not messing with that. Parking mode, I have it on G trigger recording. I can't remember which way it comes default. I think it's off, but I haven't explored the other settings. I don't even know if the G trigger is of any real importance, because the camera's recording all the time anyhow when it's hardwired, even when you're parking. So I'm not exactly sure what the G trigger does, other than maybe whenever the car is bumped, it locks the video. Maybe somebody in the comments can highlight what that actually does. I have it on. GPS just gives you, looks like some kind of status. Nothing really to select, I guess. So we'll go back. Date stamp, I've got it on. I think that's handy. Speed stamp, it's risky for what I do, but I've got it on. GPS stamp, of course, got that on. Somebody might find it useful. Speed units, got your selection of kilometers per hour or miles per hour. I think it defaults to miles per hour. Maybe it's different depending on where it's shipped. Language, of course, is English for me. French, looks like Dutch and Spanish. There may be others. Clock setting, I'll be honest, I haven't figured this thing out. I've tried to change the time before. Let's say 10 to 9, confirm. And we'll see if that actually did it, because I want to use the daylight savings time feature, but it advanced the clock an hour and I couldn't get it back. So I had to turn the daylight savings feature off to get the time that is current. And I could not change that setting. I could not change the hour. So I don't know why not, but we'll keep moving on. Time style, I haven't messed with that. It's a military time, or 24 hours or 12 hours. It defaults to 12 hours. We'll keep that. We'll swipe up again. Time zone. I think it's default to New York. May be different for wherever you are, but you may have to change that. I didn't. Daylight savings time, I want to put it on, but it doesn't work the way that I'm using it. So maybe it's me. I thought it would be intuitive to update the time, and it was not. So I'm leaving it off for now. If I can figure out how to change the hour on the clock, I'll re-enable it. Flicker, I haven't had any problems with flicker. 60 Hertz as default, left it there. Format reminder, I think it's a good idea. I think it defaults to off. I selected 15 days. I'll go ahead and reformat the internal memory. I'm not going to format, but I already did format the SD card that's in the side here. The SD card is not an expansion slot for running memory. It is an external slot that you can transfer files to, but you cannot record to them directly. So just make sure that's understood. It's a message that's in the manual as well. Card speed, I haven't played with that, so I'm just leaving it however it's set up. Reset setup, I'm not doing that. There's some app information, product information, help center. Haven't got into that. That's the end of that menu. And that's the setup that I have thus far. The clock being the only thing that I had a problem with. Let's go to the back button. And so 11 o'clock. And let's see. It is 11 o'clock. It did not change the time when I reduced it by an hour. So that is still not working. And I cannot figure that out. So that ends this setup guide. And these are mostly my preferences. There are not a ton of options here. So it is fairly easy to set up with the exception of the clock. For whatever reason, I cannot figure out how to change the time on the clock. I tried it even when I'm not in recording mode, and it didn't change it. So I cannot figure out the clock, as simple as it may seem. That's it. Okay, so here's a little continuation of the setup video with regards to the app. So if anybody is interested in how to get files off of your camera, you can either do it to the card if you have one, or you can do it through your phone, or you can unmount the camera and use the USB adapter and plug it directly into a PC or a computer, and then download it just like it was a thumb drive. It will power up the camera and allow you to access the file system, and your web browser will look just like your typical computer web browser with all the files in the same manner. It'll present in the same manner. The problem with unmounting and mounting is that the wires have tension on them as you've put them into the headliner, so the wires are stiff, and it's difficult to unmount and mount when you have to slide the camera off of the windshield mount. You have to create some slack in your cables if this is how you plan to do it. And the time it takes to transfer to the phone app or to the card, if you're going to access files often and you don't want to spend the time it takes to transfer files to either device, which, by the way, transferring to the card and transferring to the app, it's about the same amount of time. You're really not saving much time. And it's cumbersome to access files and transfer them via the screen. It's easier to transfer files to the card with the app. But if you're going to transfer to the card, you might as well transfer to your phone. I don't know. Each of you are going to have to figure out what's easiest for you. But the time to access both is about the same. So you can turn the Wi-Fi on by saying turn on Wi-Fi. There it is. You can go into your phone, and depending on your phone, you can get in here to your internet network connections, and you'll see the REDTIGER pop up. I've got mine set to just automatically connect when you touch it. I don't have to type any more passwords in. Once you get through that, you go to REDTIGER app. They offer a little skip button here, and it's going to take a few seconds. Hopefully this thing's in focus. Let's see if we can change the camera angle a little bit. Okay, and then you go over here to the icon on the bottom left, and there's a built-in storage and an external storage, depending on which file system you want to see. We'll look at the built-in storage. And at the top here it says loop. You'll see the camera also did some changes here, so now it gives you options to get into the file management settings. It defaults to loop, which is all the videos that it's constantly recording. I have mine set to 5, so you could see there's a lot of files even with 5-minute loops. Snapshots, if you took one, and then locked, if you locked a file, you can long press, and you have to select each and every file you want to take. You'll notice that each of the previews has an F and a B for front and back, so make sure you select the front and the back. They're usually paired up next to each other. So if you selected those, we'll just select one. That's 1 gig. Let's take the smaller file. And then you have an option down here. Hopefully you can see that. It says download or copy or delete. Download sends it to your internal phone storage, and copy sends it to the SD card. Be sure to note that. I'm not going to hit it because it just takes time, and we don't want to sit that long here waiting for files to transfer. But just know that download is to the internal phone storage, and usually it's in your DCIM folder, and it'll have another folder called REDTIGER. That's where they're found. And then copy, of course, goes to your SD card. That's it. Other than that, it looks like we have to back out of this thing. So cancel. That goes away. And then you could say turn off Wi-Fi. And then that turned off. And then you can shut this down. I don't think you can turn Wi-Fi off when you're accessing the file system. I've tried it before, and it just would not turn off the Wi-Fi. You have to kind of back out. You have to back out of the file system and get to the main screen on the app before it allows you to turn off the Wi-Fi. Oh, it's listening. That's it. And any questions or comments, you know where to put them. Thanks.